Welcome to the Amazingly Alcohol-Free Mother and Daughter podcast. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Jules.
And we're here to share our honest and unfiltered experience of how alcohol has impacted both of our lives and our relationship, and to show you that change is absolutely possible. Our whole lives, my mom, Jules, has always said, we can do anything because we're girls. And now we're not just saying it, we're actually living it every single freaking day. We believe in progress over perfection, and we are proof that we can do hard and often uncomfortable things. If you've been listening to this podcast and thinking, maybe I should take a break from alcohol or something just feels off, I created something just for you. It's called the 7 Days to Sparkle, Your Alcohol-Free Start. And I built this because the first 7 days can feel like the hardest, especially when you're doing it on your own without a plan or something to guide you. So I wanted to create something where you don't have to figure it out alone. This is a free 7-day experience where I'm with you each day, guiding you step by step. You don't have to overthink it. You don't have to be perfect, and you do not have to commit forever. You just have to be willing to start. Each day, I'll show up in your inbox with a short video and a simple focus. I'll walk you through exactly what to do so it actually feels doable, because I know how it feels. I honestly never thought I could live a life without alcohol. It felt like part of who I was, how I relaxed, how I connected, how I celebrated, and how I did all the things in life. But when I finally took a step back, everything really started to shift. I had more energy, I felt more present in my life, and I started to trust myself again. That's what I want for you. This isn't about being perfect for 7 days. It's about building momentum and starting to feel like yourself again. You can start today or go at your own pace. I'll be there either way. Just head to amazinglyalcoholfree.com and click on the 7 Days to Sparkle, or check the link in the show notes. If something in you has been curious, this is your sign. You don't have to do this alone. Remember, you got this. Keep going. And let's dive into this episode. All right. I'm so excited for today's conversation. I have a very special guest, Naomi DuCharme from the great state of Alaska. Naomi is a mom, a wife, a nature lover, boss founder, integrating wellness solutions, workplace health, and well-being consultant, leadership and recovery coach. You are so many things, Naomi, but I'm so glad that you're on here today, and just to learn more about you, and also just to talk about how me and you met, because we've known each other for almost 4 years, which is crazy.
I know, since 2022. How did that happen?
I don't know. It goes so fast. I'm just like, oh, yes, so fast. But I met so many amazing women on this journey, and you are one of them, because we joined Lighthouse Sobriety, was it 75 Sober with Jen Hurst. I also had Kristen Beckett on here too, who was also part of that group. So I met so many great women just on this journey. It's been so cool.
That's what I always say. I'm like, Jen Hurst has created this army of sober-powered women
Yes.
who are mastering their lives and their crafts, and look at us go. And it's awesome to see what you are doing and what you're building, and that I get to be here, and that you've had Kristen and other people from that group on. Is just like full circle moments.
I know. And I've met like just the strongest, just amazing women on this journey. And we found each other on the freaking internet. Like before all of this, like I barely went on my Facebook. Like it would just be pretty much drinking pictures or something like that. Like, and I would never, I wouldn't even post anything private. And now it's like, we go out there and now we're like posting things about our lives and like our drinking history and all these things. And then we've like just met this like community, which is crazy. And I love that you said sober powered. That is so cool. I want a shirt that says sober powered on it.
Oh, well, there's actually somebody who, that's her business name, Sober Powered, or she has a podcast called Sober Powered.
Jillian T. Yes.
Jillian T. So we can't take the t-shirt, but
dang it. Maybe she has.
But we can own the energy.
Yes, I want to own the energy. Well, that's awesome. Well, thanks again for being here. I would love to just maybe take a few steps back and just start with hearing some of your story. Like, how did your kind of relationship with alcohol begin? Maybe just even start from when you were younger and living in Alaska. And also, everyone loves hearing about people that live in Alaska. I remember you joined one of my community calls when you were in town the other day, and you said Alaska, and people were like, oh, like they've never met people from Alaska before. So it's always super interesting to just hear more about kind of your life and everything in Alaska. So yeah, why don't you just go ahead and like dig in?
Yeah. Okay. Where to start? Yeah. Alaska is the place to start, right? Like Jamie introduced, I'm from the great state of Alaska. We don't just say we're from Alaska. We are from the great state of Alaska. And it is kind of a vibe and part of everybody who lives here. It's part of our identity because it's a special place. It's also a hard place. So as it relates to my drinking story, we moved here when I was 4 years old. So I really don't know anything different. Uh, drinking culture here is very real. We're consistently the top 3 in the nation for alcohol related fatalities, and it's just prevalent. You know, nationwide, worldwide, alcohol's like one of the most accepted drugs that we all take or participate in. And in Alaska, it's times 1,000. I had somebody send me a graphic image, and I don't know where the data came from, but it was like states that spend the most amount of money on alcohol, and Alaska was number 1.
Wow.
Like we have the lowest population in the country. Okay, granted, everything's more expensive here.
Yeah.
Yes, it's hard to get things here,
Yeah.
but still, I think people maybe don't realize that the impact alcohol has up here is really out of balance. I think not that I wish that on any other state, but it's really out of balance up here. So as far as that has impacted my life, I started drinking when I was 14. And I would say that's fairly normal where I'm from. I certainly was not alone. It felt normal. It didn't feel like I was a rebel kid or a bad kid. I was just doing what we did.
Yeah.
From a very early age, I was able to drink a lot, and I thought that was so cool. And I wore that as like a badge of honor when that should have been my first red flag of like, yeah, girlfriend, it's not normal for like a 14, 15, 16-year-old to be able to drink like a half a fifth of vodka when everybody else is puking and passing out. And I was just like, let's go. What else are we doing? So my drinking journey started early. I am an interesting case where I was still the fairly responsible, not fairly, I would say most people describe me throughout my whole life as like the adult in the room,
Yeah.
the fairly responsible leader.
Mhm.
I was still doing well in school for the most part. I would do the absolute minimum to get an A, that person.
Mhm.
I certainly wasn't going above and beyond, but everything looked good on the exterior. But that carried through my whole adult life. Fast forward to my first career, I ran a restaurant. I worked in a restaurant as a teenager, and then I wound up managing a restaurant for a decade.
Wow.
And hospitality industry, like drinking is pervasive. Um, a lot of restaurants and bars, it's even like a employee benefit, like that you'll get a shift drink
Oh, wow.
or a couple drinks, which I
Mhm.
mean, for everybody who works in the industry, not everybody, but most people, you go to town on that.
Yeah.
Um, so I had easy access to alcohol all the time. I was the one doing the wine ordering at the restaurant I worked at and through my 20s. Um, and then I had a career change and started working in the outdoor industry. My degree is in outdoor leadership.
Okay.
And I thought that, I don't know what I thought I was going to do with that, but I thought I was going to go do something really fun and outdoors for a living. But I wound up doing site safety and health
Okay.
in construction and oil and gas. And that was never on my bingo cards. I got hired to be a field safety lead because part of working in the outdoor industry in my degree was risk management. So when you're outside doing crazy things like hiking, camping, hunting,
Yeah.
ice climbing, glacier travel, like there's really real risks. And one of the things that I realized that I shined in is I was like, oh, I love imagining how somebody's going to die on this trip and how to prevent and how to prevent that.
I love that for you. It makes so much sense.
It's my gift. How are we all going to die? How are we going to prevent that? Work backwards. So I wound up getting hired for a job that was a field safety lead.
Yeah.
And fast forward, that led me into construction and oil and gas. And if I thought the drinking culture was pervasive in hospitality, I had no idea what was coming for me in construction. Um, I fit right in. I'm from Alaska. I know exactly how to do the work hard, play hard. That's who I am at my core. That's the thing about a lot of people who live up here. We know how to do really hard things. We know how to live in really hard conditions, but we also know how to turn it on
Yeah.
and play hard. And I just fell right into this culture in construction. Like it didn't go away like I thought it would with hospitality. In fact, it got ramped up in construction.
Is it also because it's like mostly male industry? So did you feel like you had to like also ramp up your own drinking just to keep up with like the boys club essentially?
Yeah, there's definitely that element. Being a woman in those industries, I mean, and as when I started out, like field safety and site safety and health officer in the field, I was usually the only female on the job site. So there is that element of you have to work twice as hard. You got to be on all the time. You got to be on your A game all the time. And yeah, after when work is over and you've all just worked a 12-hour shift, and when we were at places that had a bar, sometimes we worked in really remote locations, but everybody goes to the bar and has drinks. It's like, yeah, I got to keep up with the guys. It's a constant proving yourself, but it's not just proving yourself. You got to do double in order to be accepted. Somebody could argue me on that, but I can tell you how I got to where I got was working twice as hard. And yes, that translated into drinking twice as hard.
I bet. Yes. No, it makes total sense though. I totally understand that.
Yeah. Yeah. So really the crux of my drinking where I knew for a long time that I needed to stop or slow down. I wasn't somebody who was missing work, getting DUIs. I wasn't. I think externally, most people would think I was a fairly average drinker. I also, as my career grew, I would not drink so much out in public. So I would go to events, go to work events. But then when you're the boss, you don't want to drink too much. And I get a real sassy mouth when I drink too much. I have a sassy mouth as it is.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I would go to those social events, but then go home and drink more. So things started to shift for me as I got into higher and higher levels of leadership. My real, what I would call breaking point in drinking, I was the operations manager for a commercial electrical company. And at that point, I had already been in construction for a decade. And one of our apprentices died by suicide. And it wasn't just that. I mean, that was huge. It impacted me big time because I was in a position of leadership and I felt like a huge failed leader. I thought I was somebody who was like so emotionally intelligent, somebody who had just broken a huge glass ceiling to be in the position I was in. And then I lost someone. And I just felt like, what did I miss? What did I not do? What did I say? What did I not say? And it was eating me literally alive. All those questions and the guilt and the shame, even though my logical brain was like, I know this isn't my fault. My emotional, relational capacity was just like, took it so personally.
Yeah.
And, at the same time, just fast forward like a couple weeks from that event, we all shut down for COVID. And then a few months from there, I had my daughter. So postpartum, dealing with all of these things, I was still a leader. The company's still going. I still have to care for this infant. And I'm like grappling with these really hard things in my brain. And there comes a point in your life where your stress, and this isn't like an if for people, this is just when, like, and especially if you're in a position of leadership, it's going to happen. Like, there comes a point where your stress will outpace your healthy coping mechanisms. Like, we all have a barometer, a capacity. And I reached mine during that time. For women, postpartum is really vulnerable. Like, hormones are going nuts. I know you know this, Jamie.
That was really hard for me with my second, for sure.
And COVID, like, none of us knew what was going on. It was kind of crazy, but work is still pushing ahead. So it was a wild time, but I reached a pretty low point during that time. It's kind of like a 1-year time span. And I knew I needed to stop drinking, but I didn't really know how. And I could not, for the life of me, envision how to live where I live, work where I work, live the lifestyle that I live. Like, everything revolves around drinking. Like, I just could not imagine. And that's where, fortunately, I came across Jen, who's a sober coach. And I really identified with, like, gray area drinking, joining this group of women for a 75 sober challenge, like, put the word challenge on it. And I was like, yes, a challenge. Let's do this. And I'm so grateful that I came across that, because I don't know how much deeper I would have gotten. I know how much deeper I could have gotten into my self-soothing that I was trying to do. But I'm so grateful every day that I didn't. I saw that word challenge, I joined, and I went all in. And that was in 2022. That was October 2022. And I have not, I won't say I haven't looked back. Like, of course, there were moments. It was a lot of work, a lot of effort. And some days, it still is learning how to manage stress appropriately. But that's a little bit about my story and how I got here.
Well, congratulations on almost 4 years in October. That is huge. And you just have such a great story, and it's relatable too, as far as, like, the stress goes, and, being a newer mom, and, like, being in this leadership position as a woman where you're, like, breaking glass ceilings. And then I'm so sorry about your coworker, and just everything you've been through. But of course, like, drinking is what you would lean into, because, like a lot of us, like, that's all you knew growing up. Um so thank you for sharing, but I'm curious, like, since you're almost 4 years alcohol free, like, have you done some work to help you just kind of reflect on the things that happened in your, like, drinking past? With, because it looks, you blamed yourself for your coworker, it sounds like, and logically you knew it wasn't like you. But is there, like, any work that you've done, and not even in that example, but, like, to just show yourself love and self-compassion? Like, is there anything that you've used for you or your clients that you think would be helpful for anybody listening?
Yeah. It- Number one, I did get therapy, but I just was not open to therapy until I stopped drinking. And I don't know why, I can't explain it. I had been to therapy before, earlier in my life. But when I stopped drinking, it became more clear which paths, which tools I needed. There's just a flurry of tools out there for all of us. When you are in a position like I was, where you're starting to take things on and taking things personally, and you have decisions to make and you don't know what to do, your world gets really small. It starts closing in, right? And so even though there's this plethora of resources out in the world and people I could have called, and my world was shrinking, I was isolating, I was getting really removed, because I'm the leader, I'm the answer, I'm supposed to know how to navigate this. And so some things that worked for me was, number one, just stumbling upon that sober coaching program. And whether the right tool for the moment for you is coaching, inpatient, outpatient, a therapist. Like only you can decide that, but it's finding that first rate tool and just trying it. And then all of a sudden these other tools become an option.
Yeah.
So it's finding the right tool for the right time. And that's going to be different for all of us. My message to everybody out there is that when your world starts getting small and more internal, and you think you're going to solve all the problems in here, that's a great time to be like, okay, hold on.
Yeah.
Because it'll all start looping around. And like when you get to that point that you feel like you can't solve it on your own, you got to find the right tool for the right time. I wish I could say that there was a playbook for that. But what I'll say is there are lots of options. You need to find one and go for it. For me, it was the coaching program. That was the most accessible for where I was at and for my personality type. I didn't need clinical care. So this was a good option for me. And it was the right words, like sober challenge. Okay. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah.
Then therapy. Because there's a reason why drinking stuck at 14. Like there's lots of reasons. There's a reason why I identify with work, with this play hard, work hard, play hard culture. You know, there was all that to unpack, and I did that with therapy. But I think, you know, my message to everybody and to my clients is there are so many tools out there, and some of us, many of us will say, well, that didn't work for me. And so like I've had therapy before in the past and it did not work for me. But does that mean that therapy doesn't work? No, it means it wasn't the right tool at the right time. Or it just wasn't the right person.
No.
Like just the same way that an electrician is not an electrician is not an electrician. A therapist is not a therapist, is not a therapist. A coach is not a coach, is not a coach. So it is up to each of us to find the right tool and keep going until you find it. And if it's not the right one the first time, instead of pointing the fingers and, you know, just realize that's good data. That didn't work. What's the next one? This didn't work. What's the next one? Yeah.
No, I totally agree. Because I always say we're just so hard on ourselves, when, we have slips and things like that. And me and you have probably both tried to moderate or stop so many times before it actually stuck. But we both like figured out what worked after many trial and errors. And it's like, just because you keep start stopping because you're not figuring it out, just keep going. Because at one point it will all come together. And it's kind of like, what's that mix of things that work for you? Because I started off with just like podcasts, found like a community and started to be like on Instagram, be like, oh my gosh, I'm not the only one. And then I saw Jen's like group, the challenge, and I was like, oh, heck yeah, I'm in, because I love that. Give me all the hard challenges. And then after that is when I really got the community aspect. And then I started learning better tools like the box breathing, all the things that I coach on now. But I just didn't know before. And all that really had helped me take the steps, to be able to, be more compassionate with myself and just get stronger and stronger and being alcohol free. But it takes time. And so, but I love your approach on that too. Just find what's right for you and just keep going, honestly.
Well, and accept, like if we could all accept that there is no one size fits all.
Yes.
There's no one other person on earth that has your same cradle to grave story. Like your life experiences and the context of your life right now is not the same as anybody else's. So I think the sooner we can all accept that, we want somebody to tell us like, here, put this on. This is going to make you better. Here, cold plunge. This is going to make you better.
Yes.
And the reality is we have to take our own power back to say like, I'm the expert in my own life and I will know the right thing when I see it.
Yeah.
The thing that helps a lot though is when you have a coach, a therapist, a community, who's supporting you as you're finding your way, as you're learning to listen to that intuition, to that inner guidance. That's the one thing taking your whole life context into consideration. Like nobody outside of you can take your entire life context into consideration. And that can be really scary for people or stupid empowering.
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
like, how empowering is that?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I find it very empowering, and so well said what you just said. Well, I would love to switch gears. So I know that you quit your full-time job, big job in construction, and now you're a solopreneur, which we like to both call ourselves now. I adopted that from you. So I would love to hear how that evolved. Is that something that you just felt in your intuition? Because I know you've been running meetings in Lighthouse Thankful Thursday, which I used to join every once in a while for years. But how did you determine to follow your passion and become a coach?
Yeah. So, part of my journey, this is kind of twofold. There's the coaching, but there's also my background in occupational safety and health. And given the experience that I just shared with you, I had looked back on my career and realized, in occupational safety and health, particularly in construction, oil and gas, we focus on things like confined space and fall protection and like these very physical, we're very concerned about physical injuries on the job site. And that's important, by the way. I'm not diminishing the importance of that. It's critical. But my entire career, the only fatalities I've ever experienced have been overdose and suicide.
Wow.
And that moment in 2020, where it was so close to home, made me look back and say, holy shit, we've lost a lot of people. And sometimes they were like subcontractors. But I kind of realized that I had brushed it aside as, oh, they had a problem and I didn't know it. Or I grew up in Alaska, right? And it's like, yeah, everybody's been impacted by these things. So you just assume it's personal problems.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in 2020, when I started to get my own life and mind right, I went back to school for total worker health, which is a more robust, kind of holistic approach to looking at occupational safety and health, to include psychological safety, psychosocial safety. And it really helped me realize that, there's something more to this than just the individualized approach,
Yeah.
than just saying, oh, that person has a problem, they need help. Like, yes, that might be true. And what are we doing systemically as a society and at work that are contributing to these issues and maybe pushing people over the edge? And so I worked pretty hard to integrate psychological, psychosocial safety into my health and safety practices, and became a coach.
Awesome.
Because what I realize is, like, when I'm working on systems with leaders of like, what are the health and safety systems or the leadership systems that need to change in order to have a healthy workforce? The people who either make or break those systems are individuals, they're leaders. And that's where the coaching comes in for me, is that I 100% believe that we need systems changes at work and in communities, to help solve some of these big issues. But I also know that individuals are at the helm of change.
Yeah.
And that's where coaching comes in for me, is if you need help, I want to help you. If you're in a position of leadership, I know what it's like to reach your capacity level when you're leading people. So when I see positions of leadership, I mean, you lead people. That takes a huge capacity of like emotional regulation, of stress management. And so the work I do when I decided to go full time was because I just see this as critical. And the other positions that I've been in, I'm usually in a level of leadership that I don't have the time or energy to dedicate to these things. So when my level of passion was like superseding the work I was doing, I was like, now is my time. So I am full-time solopreneur, as I call it. It's the first time in my career that I'm not managing a bunch of people, which is, I'm not going to lie, it's kind of nice.
I I
but I also
I feel the same way.
but I also miss it.
Yeah.
Having a team and having team dynamics. But it's giving me this space to step back and really conceptualize how to make a bigger impact than
Yeah.
just one person running around trying to do all of these things. There's a way that we can make a bigger impact. And so that's why I decided to step to the side. So now I help organizations and individuals do what I call become engines of well being. How do you design your life so that well being is an outcome? How do you design your work so that health, safety, well being is an outcome of being there? The, the inevitable outcome doesn't have to be burnout
Right.
and substance use. And like the inevitable outcome can be well being if we design this right. So that's what I do.
Wow. Well, I love that. What you're doing is so impactful and you're trying to change the system essentially, but you're doing it from top down at these organizations, but also that one-on-one coaching. And so I love that what you said, your passion for this work just surpassed the actual day-to-day leadership role you were in, but you figured out a way to like, integrate those together and be able to do it at a broader scale, which is just such a beautiful thing. And so I'm just so happy that you're doing this. And so congratulations. I'm excited to see how it all shapes out.
It's exciting and terrifying.
Yes.
But at some point, the thing that was always missing
Yeah.
when I was drinking, and I don't know if you feel the same way, Jamie, but it's
Yeah.
like I was missing a sense of purpose, like waking up and wondering, why am I still here?
Yeah.
Why am I still here? And when that light starts to shine, like a little glimmer of a pathway, is like, oh, that,
Yeah.
like maybe I don't know my overarching big purpose, but I know today what I'm supposed to be doing.
Yes.
And I know tomorrow what I'm supposed to be doing. And when that started becoming more and more clear, and the way it became clear was like removing all of these veils of distractions,
Yeah.
substances, scrolling, sugar. It's like remove the veils so that you can see clearly and not distract yourself. I- The path becomes clear.
Yes. 100%. And similar to you, like about a year ago, actually, I went on a leave from Amazon because my stress levels were so high. And I also, my passion for helping women, and because I was trying to integrate meditation and yoga into my office life, but the balance was off. I didn't feel right. And so I took a break to get that clarity of what I really wanted because I wasn't living a life of purpose. I felt like I was so consumed with my work it just took over when I was at home and in my life. And I feel like when I took that step back, I was like, okay, my path is helping women live these best lives alcohol free. And it's just changed me for the better. But it took time to get there, but without letting go of alcohol and starting to do the work and figuring out, I would never have even been where I am right now, which is really cool. So, but yeah, it's been the best decision I've ever made for sure. I love
It's powerful.
it.
It's
It is.
powerful because sometimes we think giving up alcohol means you're going to suffer and you're going to miss it for your life. And it's like, actually, we are both
Yeah.
living proof
Yeah.
that what's possible is it starts to reveal
Yeah.
your path.
Exactly.
That doesn't mean everybody's supposed to become like an alcohol free coach
Right.
or everybody's supposed to be out there talking about substance use at work
Yeah.
or and health and safety like I do.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean that. It means that you just get to see life so much more clearly,
Yes.
the good and the bad, right? Like
Yes.
the good and but yeah, it's incredible to see the life that you've carved
Yeah.
out from taking a step back.
Yes.
And yeah,
Yes.
it's pretty amazing.
Yes, it is so freaking worth it for anybody listening. It's worth it. Just keep going on this path because we've done it. We've done it. We have a lot of our own clients and women we've met on this journey that have done it too. And we've all struggled with this substance and we were able to let it go. And it's not easy, but it's so much more beautiful on the other end. Just so much. It's just been the best decision for me. And like you, I never thought I could live without alcohol because I just grew up with it. Like literally, I couldn't imagine what my life would be like. It just didn't couldn't see it. Um, but you can get there for sure. Yeah.
Well, and I think culturally, like you were at Amazon, and I don't know what their culture is like for
Yeah.
any industry that you work in.
Yeah.
So like there's culture where it's like your home and your barbecues and like, I don't know, whatever holiday is coming up,
Yeah.
like, there's the alcohol there. But
Yeah.
then there's your work too. It's
Yeah.
like happy hours, networking, conferences, and the conferences are almost always centered around
Yeah.
alcohol. Um, I just did a leadership development summit for a group, and they wheeled in a Bloody Mary bar at 10 a.m.
Just like, what?
And like, this is pervasive
Yeah.
at work, especially. And so I find it interesting, you know, you worked at Amazon. I know my experience in construction, oil and gas, but I do wonder what it's like in tech. And I have clients who work in like marketing, and they're like, Mad Men, it's
Yes.
like that.
Yes.
And I have another client who's a lawyer, and she's like, you would not believe, like, we were basically required to go to these happy hours to get through school.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's pervasive. It's pervasive. And I think, to your point, Jamie, for everybody out there who is wondering, should I give up alcohol? How can I do this? How can I be successful at my work? Am I even going to be able to connect with my friends and my family? Here's what I'll tell you is like, number one, you will find a way. Where there's a will, there's a way. Number two, you might prove to them that there's more joy without it, more clarity, less hangovers. I don't miss those at all.
Same.
More clear, deeper connections. My experience making connections for work is like, it takes me 5 minutes. It used to be like hours, and like the funny gal drinking, like, I don't need to go there. There is a way. And I think bringing awareness to all of these occupations that it feels like a requirement to drink, to be there, to belong, bringing that awareness matters. So know that it's possible.
It is.
You can actually thrive without it. And the potential friends, family members, coworkers that do kind of fall away when you stop, you'll realize that that's okay. Like, it's okay. The people who understand and want what's best for you come to the surface.
Yes.
And how many people have you met, Jamie? When I stand up and tell people that I'm sober, because I'm pretty open about it, and when I'm giving talks on health and safety or workplace well-being, I always talk about this, and I say that I'm sober. People come out of the woodworks and they'll like flash me their AA coin,
Yes.
or I'm like, all this time I never knew that there was always somebody in the room.
Yes.
There was always somebody in the room, but you just didn't know it, who was not drinking.
All the time. Yeah. And I started to notice that because happy hours at Amazon, and before the pandemic was really bad because I worked on this one organization within Amazon that it was like every Friday, people were drinking at 10 a.m. There's bar carts going around and things like that. But after the pandemic, I remember going to happy hours when I was alcohol free, and I did not like to go. Like, I'd rather at that point just like go home. Like, I didn't, but I would have to like do it because you got to show up. But I remember there was other people on my team not drinking, and someone for cultural reasons, or they just don't drink. And I was like, oh my gosh, because when I was a drinker, I just thought everybody drank. I just thought that was the thing. Oh, actually, people do want NA options. People feel the same way as me. And so knowing that too always really helped me. Oh, I'm not alone. I'm not the only one, right? And at the end of the day, people don't really care. Some do, but for the most part, people don't care. And if they do care, it's more of their own thing, right? So
It is.
yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, Naomi, where can we find you?
So you can find me on www.integratingwell.com. My company name is Integrating Wellness Solutions. I have a monthly newsletter. I won't bombard you with information. I usually try to just have one newsletter per month. I do offer one-on-one coaching, group coaching, but most of my time I spend working with organizations, either consulting on how to integrate workplace well-being into your existing health and safety and HR policies and leadership policies. And I work with leadership groups to better understand how they can integrate, not have standalone wellness programs, but integrate and own their commitment to well-being. That's what I'm here for. So I would love it if you reach out. I'm also on Instagram and LinkedIn, Naomi DuCharme. I'd love to hear from any of you if you're listening to this and connected with any of the message.
Awesome. And I will put all your information in the show notes as well, which is great. So before we wrap up, Naomi, is there any last parting words you would like to share?
My last parting words to anybody listening to this is, if you have that little whisper of an inner voice that's telling you that you need to do something different, listen. You don't have to wait until it becomes a scream. I think we all have an idea of who an alcoholic looks like. And I think you don't usually picture me or Jamie. And whether you call yourself an alcoholic or not, I don't call myself an alcoholic, but I think we all have this mental idea of what it has to look like to make a change. And so here's what I want to leave you with is, instead of asking, how bad do I need to get to make a change? Ask yourself, how good do you want it to get?
Yeah.
What are you willing to do? How good do you want it to get? Starting now. Don't wait for that rock bottom.
I love that. Oh, well, thank you so much again, Naomi, for joining. This was such a great conversation, and I just appreciate you being here so much. Have an amazing alcohol-free week, and just remember, keep going, and you got this.